live conversation. We're really excited today to have Ray of Hope alumni, Deepak Rajmohan from GreenPod Labs with us. And not only is Deepak here, but GreenPod Labs itself is here. And we're going to get to look around and see where all of the magic happens for this really wonderful biomimetic work that they're doing. So Deepak, welcome. A little bit of background before we get into it. Participant and winner of the Ray of Hope prize, back when it was a prize. We are now, the Ray of Hope Accelerator, and, about 10 teams a year are, celebrated and cultivated through the work of the Ray of Hope program, given all the kinds of support to help them as startups, but also to help tell their story of nature and biomimetic inspiration. So much of the power of doing this work comes through the storytelling that you can do about nature and the promise for kind of a better future that these innovations bring. And that's a big part of what we help to cultivate and bring to life for these startups, because life is what is driving them, and it's great to infuse it. So Deepak, welcome, and welcome all of our guests here.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining in. Super happy to see everyone here. Excited to show our lab and what we are doing. Happy to answer any questions what you guys have. So drop me in between during the conversation. So yeah, feel free to ask anything what we're doing, and then I can go deeper on that. Yeah, super happy to see everyone. Thank you.
All right, great. So for a little bit of background, if you're not familiar yet with GreenPod Labs, they're doing a lot of wonderful work. The biggest one that kind of led it and was really current at the Ray of Hope experience for Deepak was the first sachets of bringing the pheromones that naturally keep the fruit ripe on plants from over ripening, kind of constantly getting these chemical signals like stay on, you're still on the plant, no need to fall apart and rot. But once you harvest fruit, that signal stops being sent, and the fruit begins to think, well, now is a pretty good time to decompose and let my seeds get everywhere and fertilize the soil and hopefully grow. We do all kinds of chemical and high energy and really intensive and expensive things to keep fruit fresh once it's been harvested. And even for all that we do, so much of it is lost and wasted and damaged before it even gets to potential consumers. So this has been a really amazing, helpful, beneficial insight and development that GreenPod Labs have done from a really simple, very natural source. It all came from looking and paying attention, listening to the plants around us. So that's my favorite version of that story. So Deepak, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you first developed these ideas and how GreenPod Labs came to be?
Yeah, no, yeah, thanks for the sharing your thoughts, Andrew. So I think it started back in 2017-18 when I got introduced into biomimicry primarily. So the first introduction to biomimicry was at the Oregon Museum, where there's a separate section for biomimicry. That's where I was just fascinated about it. At the same time, I was just exploring this problem of like food waste, food losses in developing markets that no one was solving it. So I had my job in the US as food scientist, working there for several years, and then I got introduced into biomimicry, was digging deeper. On the same time, also exploring this problem statement of food waste, food losses in developing markets. So yeah, one thing led to the other. I stumbled upon this science called plants defense mechanism. So primarily what it means is similar to a human immune system, a fruit and vegetable has its own immune system. And then by activating those immune system, a plant can fight against any external stress, be it a biotic stress like pests, insects and microbes and stuff, or abiotic stress like temperature, humidity and stuff. So it was just fascinating. And like that led to the discovery of internal biochemical pathways within the crop, which can be activated after harvest by using volatile signals. So that's what we've done. So we've built products where whatever plants are communicating on the pre-harvest level, we are replicating those communication platforms through our product after the fruit and vegetable is harvested, and then telling them that they're still alive and part of the mother plant, and then let it stay longer. It's been fascinating for the last 4 years to learn about nature and implement those principles in our product. We've been scaling up. So we have commercially operating for the last 1.5 years, and been scaling up our products across multiple commodities. The impact what we are creating, we are saving close to about like 10 to 15,000 tons of greenhouse gas emission every month, and in next couple of months that's gonna go to probably like a 30,000, 35,000 tons per month. It's exciting to learn from nature and then also build technologies which can scale and make an impact.
That's great. And that's really, I think one of the aspects of your story that I love is that it's not the GreenPod. You didn't make one thing, but this is GreenPod Labs. It's an ongoing pursuit that you're on. And so you started with tomatoes, now you're working with bananas, and each different fruit is really getting different signals and requires adaptation. And then you're also scaling by getting great pickup through new technologies that you're using to deliver these signals, and through the pickup and interest of really big clients around the world. So we'll say anything about how that is kind of burgeoning and expanding.
I think if you just break it down fundamentally from our perspective, right? So we were very clear that whatever is the impact from a sustainability perspective, that's not going to work when you're operating as a business. So end of the day, our focus was like, how are we going to add value for the customers, both economically and in terms of their scale as well. So we were very focused on like, we can learn from nature, we can understand the nature, but the product has to be delivered in a way where it does not create any friction in the current supply chain, and it has to be delivered in a cost which is meaningful for the customers to use it to the scale. So that's what we doubled down. I think the way how GreenPod Labs work is we constantly question everything what we're doing. We think from first principles. So we had multiple product forms along the journey. We've scrapped certain product form, even though we are probably known for certain things and been doing that for a longer period. But if we feel that that product form is not going to deliver value for the customers, or it's at least restricting the value what we can deliver for the customers, we move on to the next one. With respect to recent development with several customers, right? So the interesting part is like there are the bigger clients, be it like customers like Walmart or a few other exporters like Dole and stuff, like who've been working with us. The value what they're seeing is from one, we are delivering products which is customized for each commodity, which is something not any other solution provider are doing it. We are very fundamental in terms of how we are understanding the crop and then developing a product. So there's a depth in which what we're doing, and the research is what delivers that value. Two, like all our products are made with natural ingredients. So with respect to safety and compliance wise, they see a lot of value. And there's a potential for us to customize a solution even for the customer level. Certain customers would work on few commodities to few locations where they need certain characteristics on the end results, and we can go to that level of like customizing for those results. So that's where people are seeing value in what we're doing, even though we're a pretty small company from the scale and also like the team size wise. But all these big customers are seeing value in what we're doing from that perspective.
Yeah, that's great. And we certainly have been really excited about it. Obviously, you made it into the Ray of Hope program, and then as winners, and just sharing these stories, and it's been really exciting for us. And we see the potential. It all seems to click. And I think that's something really special about what you're doing, where it is fundamental and you're applying things at every level. So what are kind of the tools that you use to ensure that that's happening? How are you making these innovations and using sustainable materials and nature-based materials and having it really be delivering this kind of biomimetic approach and nature-friendly approach all throughout?
Yeah, for sure. I think I need to give a credit in this open platform for what you guys have done on several resources on biomimicry, especially Ask Nature. I think I personally mentioned it to you, the knowledge what I've gained out of Ask Nature, but I'm just going to put it out for everyone here as well. So personally, myself and several of our team members use his like Biomimicry Institute resources and especially Ask Nature's resources to build our knowledge. Um, I think from our perspective, right? So biomimicry is the best way to find solutions, which is both scalable and sustainable. Um, because in nature you have all the problems what you're actually facing in the real world, and nature has solved it with the highest scale and highest sustainability. So we do seek knowledge across any of the problems what we're solving, if something is available in nature, and then bring that on. And as I mentioned before, we operate with first principles. So any of our product development, any of the problem solving comes from the first principles. Okay, when you fundamentally break it down to the fundamentals, what is a starting point for everything what we are trying to solve? I think those are the two areas how we have done it, and obviously, like we have built a team which is focused on problem solving. Their core work day in day out is problem solving. If you do that, you're gonna hit the scale. So yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And so, this is a very particular application of this approach, but as you know, there's lots of people doing lots of things all around the world, many of whom you got to meet through Ray of Hope and kind of in that community of people. So what have you found kind of how those relationships have grown or informed each other since your time in the Ray of Hope prize contest, and then kind of the experiences that you had there and now the relationships that you've developed?
Yeah. I think Ray of Hope is one accelerator or like a cohort of program which brings the best and best of startups in the space of like nature-based companies or nature-based solutions. During my course of accelerator program and also after the accelerator program, the interactions what I've had with all these folks has given us one hope that you can build products and use nature to scale and solve a problem. I think that's a strong hope that you will be able to succeed on this space. Second, it's very relatable, right? So you have other founders who are going through the same hurdle of like solving certain things, and they share insights, they share different pointers of like how they solve several problems. That's obviously relatable and something you can take as an inspiration and solve your problems yourself. Um, and the network has grown even after the program is done. I've been in touch with the Biomimicry Institute folks for different reasons and different conversations, and then all the startups who were part of our cohort, and also the follow-on cohorts have been part of like few conversations with other startups, and that has helped us learn more about what's happening and stuff. I think one more experience what I've got is like I was one of the judges for last year's Ray of Hope prize, and then also this year's judgment for the top 10 startups. I think that was another level of experience altogether. You see a wide range of startups who are coming up with interesting solutions using nature and how they are trying to solve different problems. So I think I'm super hopeful that this network is going to create a significant impact in our ecosystem, and it's going to get stronger and stronger year by year. I've seen a lot of value, and I'm hoping that other startups will also see a lot of value being part of this network. So.
I love that. One other part of the Ray of Hope experience that I'd love to hear from you is I've always loved the idea of the retreat, where all of these startups kind of get together, meeting each other for the first time out in the wild, out in nature, surrounded by it. What's a memory that you have from that time? Either just a favorite thing that happened, or an insightful moment, or when you think back to that.
Yeah.
Give us a taste of what it's like to actually be there.
Yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't go in for the retreat when it happened for my year because of my visa problem. So, yeah, because of my visa, I couldn't be part of that retreat in 2022. But I've heard a lot of stories. I was super jealous that I was not able to join that retreat. But yeah, people have mentioned about several stories through that 1 week. But yeah, I couldn't be part of that retreat that year because of my visa. So yeah.
Oh yeah, oh that's terrible. Maybe someday in the future we'll have another one. We'll have them abroad.
Hopefully, on some other retreat, I can just join that. Yeah.
Great. Well, so there's the times where it's great where we can bring someone to a place where we can bring people together physically. Today is a really special situation for us on this conversation because we're able to be in the lab with Deepak here. So he's actually sitting right there at GreenPod Labs. And if we're all ready, he'll get mobile here and start showing us around, and we can get a sense of what this really looks like when you go from the idea and the inspiration into the implementation and the scaling and the ongoing work. See biomimicry really in action here, and give us a little anchoring too of where exactly we are in the world and within India. Oh, hang on, we lost your audio. I don't know if your audio toggled to the other device.
Oh, sorry. Is it better now?
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. So I was just saying, like, we are part of a city called Chennai in India. We are the southernmost part of India. We're surrounded by oceans and sea. A beautiful place. So born, brought up here, and then spent 5 years in the US, and then came back, built the company here. So yeah, so we've been here in this location for about 4.5 years now. Built the entire R&D and manufacturing and our HQ here. We have sales offices in different parts of India, but all our active work happens here in Chennai, India.
Great. Okay. Well, show us around here. We can test out.
Awesome.
I know you've got
Let me switch to the other camera, and then we'll move in. Yeah, perfect. Thanks.
All right. Okay. Now, this is our first real on-location tour around. So everyone, kind of pipe up, let us know how it's looking and how it's working. If you have questions, you can post them in the chat, or feel free to just unmute yourself, ask for clarification or something. Deepak, one thing I'll say is it looks like you have to get the screen rotation activated on your phone.
Is it okay?
It's showing us just vertically now, so we're kind of turned. Yeah. Well, now we're seeing it upright. It's in vertical format, but that works.
Is it vertical? Is this works? No.
No, it would be great if we could get it horizontal, but it's only displaying vertically. So
I'm trying to see how do I change the. Oh no. No. Are you guys able to see the horizontal? No.
Nope.
Okay. Cool. I'm not sure. I'm connecting on phone, so I'm figuring out. So I'll not waste time and just move in. Are you guys able to see the all the workings, right? So.
Yeah, this looks great.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to start with this. This is our prototype station where all the product development prototypes are done. Just to show like how this is one of our product, what we have. It's a fruit coating what we have, where for citrus fruits, we do like a coating on the surface. And this gives protection for the fruits. This is one of our product form. So this is our environmental chamber where we can actually run different simulations of temperatures and humidity. You guys can actually see the product testings are going on where we run different temperatures from, let's say, like a 10 Fahrenheit to about 100 Fahrenheit of temperature, and then like 5 to 90% humidity. So this is a customized machine what we have got for ourselves. And then we have a few other tools. So these are respiration chamber, what we call it as like crop vitals. So similar to a human vitals, like this gives several vitals of fruits and vegetables. So this is something we've customized ourselves, where we have got like 15 different sensors. Just trying to log in. My bad. I think
that's
amazing.
I know how much cooking has changed from me using an electric thermometer to judge the temperature of meat. I can only imagine the kinds of things that you're able to monitor and really read directly from the fruits here.
Yeah. I think one thing what I've been saying, right, is like plants are so complex. We had to customize our own sensors for this. So there's one of the tools what we have built, what we call it as a VOC profile, where this actually tracks the fruit's volatile profile across different stages of fruits. It releases different volatiles, and we track that volatile profile. And we'll be able to understand with our product and with other product how it works and stuff. Those are spray dryer. So this primarily it's like a small scale spray dryer where it can convert liquid into powder. So this is one of our pilot machine. And whatever you guys are seeing here is what we call it as a like a Google map of crops, where we break down the entire journey of a crop biochemical pathways into each individual pathways, and then discuss like how the connecting dots are. So it's like a maze where we understand what's the outcome we are expecting, and then we see like which pathway is a better way to attack that outcome. So this is more like a Google Maps for fruits and vegetables. So this is an interesting part of how we are operating.
That's amazing. And that's a map of kind of the different VOCs that are released at different times.
So this is a map of all different biochemical pathways within the fruit and vegetable. So every fruit and vegetable, you have like thousands of biochemical pathways inside, and we break down the entire pathways, and there's a lot of connecting dots. So one pathway would be connected with another pathway through a signal. So we would track each of those pathways and then understand what are the protein that we can actually target. Oh, sorry. What are the proteins that we can actually target and then look at it. So this is one way to understand the crops better.
That's amazing. That's one of the things that I have loved most about your work is the really stark realization that it drives home for you that the fruits and vegetables in your house are all alive. They're actively, the cells are growing, they're responding to light and moisture. And as you see those plant products change, it's because their processes are changing. And
no, 100%. I think that's one area what excites us as well every day. So this is our gene expression lab where we can actually track the gene of different fruits and vegetables. This is a PCR machine. It's a sophisticated machine which can run crops gene level. So how right now you have different gene expression for humans, we're building that gene expression for fruits and vegetables. So there's a couple of tools for that, PCR and other tools for this. So this is our gene expression lab. This is our microbiology lab where we run all our microbiology samples, testings, facilities here. So it gives a lot more understanding of like how we are running through different parameters and stuff. So this is another lab what we have. And we have like crop testing areas. I'm just gonna, sorry, my office is a little bit messy, so we're just like moving few things. So apologize for that. So this is
exactly the window that we never get to see of like what it really looks like to start putting this stuff into practice. It's wonderful.
Yeah. hopefully if you can take it that way, that's good. So this is a crop testing place where we actually run several crop testings happening. So with bananas, like there are different formulations, different crop variations what we test. And this is like number of boxes of banana. So all these boxes are different banana maturity, different formulations what we test. And there's a parameters what we look at across various days on seeing like which one works and stuff. So just give me a small break. I just have to open up another office. Just a minute. I'll show the other lab as well.
Sure thing. All right, everyone. And as we get through this, it's a good time to start opening up and thinking about the questions that you have. If you haven't already, you can put them in the chat. I'm happy to read them out, or when the time comes, just unmute yourself and ask questions contextually. That's perfectly fine. We're a good amount of people here to keep this as a really lively conversation. It doesn't just have to be presenting and standing up to the mic in the auditorium, but we're here. This is your time in GreenPod Labs. So,
this is our analytical lab where we have several UV spectrometer and then centrifuge and stuff. So this is where we can break down our product qualitative analysis, and then also like on our crop level, we can measure several enzymes and biochemical assays here. So this is another lab what we have and what we use it for. So. Yeah, happy to answer any questions, anything that you guys have, we can discuss through. I'll just move to another, and if you guys want to see something else, I'm happy to show that more deeper as well. Or if you want to discuss the pointers, we can discuss that as well. So.
Great, thanks. I think we have our first question. Lily looks like she has a question over here.
Yeah, I put it in the chat, but I'd love to hear, Deepak, it's good to see you again. For folks who don't know, I had him on my podcast a few years ago now. And my question is, what has been like a recent aha moment or kind of a realization?
There's a lot of that, Lily. So yeah, again, thanks for joining and appreciate your time again.
I think one factor, just to give some context, since we last spoke, we have moved more into like a full stack solution. So for any of the fruits and vegetables, now we're not just going in and providing one solution. So we are providing like a portfolio of solution for several fruits and vegetables. That's when we understood how the environment, not just the internal crop quality and the biochemical pathways of a crop, which is critical, it's also the environment of the crop, which is super critical. We've started learning how a fruit is responding to environment and then controlling that environmental parameters to better increase the shelf life. So that's been another interesting avenue for us, not just understanding the internal biochemical pathways and internal responses, also understanding like how the crop is responding to external stimuli and external environment, and how can you control that with meaningful products. So yeah, that's been a great learning in an area where it has given us a new avenue to learn and build more products. So yeah, that's one area which has been fascinating for us, just on the nature side alone. So yeah,
that's great. That's great. I see another question here from Rashida, who's just curious to know about the methodology used for the various chemical analyses and which plants are most useful in the preservation. Thank you.
Yeah, no, so if I understand the question is more on which are the analytical tools we use to understand the crop. Is that precisely the question?
Yes, yes.
Okay, got it. Yeah. So yeah, so we use gas photography. That's one or for a critical tool. The next critical tool is our VOC sensor. So we've ground up built about 15 to 20 different sensors to study the crop from a VOC level. So these are the two analytical tools what we use to study the volatiles from the crop. We use other technologies to understand the crop, but purely from a volatile perspective, these are the two what we've been using. So.
Yes. Also, just wanted to know if there are any particular plants that have been more useful in the preservation spectrum.
So we work on about 30 to 35 different compounds. So it's not like one plant what we use. So we run across 30 to 35 different compounds. We have our in-house bioinformatics, where we can run different biochemical pathways and run like thousands of compounds on those biochemical pathways and see which one has the highest impact, and then move them into wet lab. So we're more like a drug discovery for fruits and vegetables. So there's no one or two plants. We work with about 30, 35 different plant extracts.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, thank you.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you, Rashida. Now I see Milan. Nice to see you here. You want to go ahead and ask your question?
Sure. I'm just curious. I guess this is a bit of a two-parter, but I know initially it was in a sachet form, and then you took us around the lab, and it looks like it's more of a spray at the moment. So I'm just curious that the spray that goes around the vegetable, is it water soluble, and how easily is it to wash off the fruit?
Yeah, I think the spray is one of the products formed. So we actually have sachets are moved into this product form. So this is a new product form where it uses the technology of the sachets. Our active ingredients are coated on the sheets, and this releases the volatile primarily. And this is one of the product forms, especially on the technology what I showed, the fruit coating side. That's new product line what we are building, and that's been scaling as well. That product form is not water soluble, but because citrus, the skin is removed, it's a food grade, food safe material, but it's not water soluble primarily. But because the skin is removed, it doesn't cause any challenges from that perspective. But the coating is not water soluble.
Cool, thanks.
Can you say a little bit about that, Deepak, how you went from the sachet to the coating on the card?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, Andrew, so as a company, we were known for sachets, right? So I think that's how we've discussed for almost three and a half years and 4 years. There were some limitations with the sachet form, primarily like sachets on a manufacturing level. There's a cap beyond which we were not able to produce the volumes. So that became a huge bottleneck for us when we were scaling up. So we had to find manufacturing process which can scale to the volume what we're looking at. That was one challenge. The second challenge is the product form what we had on the sachet had limitations in terms of release in certain climatic conditions. So if it's let's say extremely low humidity conditions, then the release factors were not high enough to have a consistent product release and stuff. So looking at all those pointers, we felt we want to get into a manufacturing process which can be scaled to any volume and get into a product form which is not impacted because of climatic conditions. So that's how we moved into this process. So we had to build this process ground up. No other company are doing something similar. So we've built our own process and machineries for accommodating this. So primarily what we have done are active ingredients, which is our plant extracts, are mixed into different polymers in the solution. And those liquids are coated on top of this sheets. And because of the surface area and because of the interaction what we've got, our release profile is uniform, one. And two, because of the manufacturing process, what we were able to adopt to a different industry, like a paper coating and paper manufacturing industry, scale becomes easier for us. We had to make few changes on the machines, but with respect to scale, we were able to onboard multiple vendors, and then that just helped us to scale faster. So those were the reasons. Yeah. So.
That's great. Thank you. And I see Jeff. Jeff has a question here. You want to ask that, Jeff? Come on.
Sure. I'm ultimately very uninformed, but I have an idea from someone I talked to that bananas are normally brought like to a country green, and then they put them in a special room where they make them riper, and then that's how they sell them. And how is your process? How do you conceive of your process differently?
Yeah. So primarily what you're saying is right, Jeff. So bananas are transported raw, like unripe banana, and then it moves to a destination market where they put it on a ethylene chamber. So ethylene is a hormone which is released while it's ripening. So primarily that's where they would put in ethylene to ripen the banana from an external perspective. So what we do is like we don't interact anything after the ethylene treatment is done. So all our interactions are before the ethylene treatment. So on a banana unripe stage is what we work on. So primarily like on an unripe banana, average shelf life would be anywhere between like 15 to 20 days. We are pushing that 15 to 20 days to 40 to 50 days. So there's a 40 to 60% increase in shelf life, and that's what we do. When the external ethylene is applied, the banana would ripen as usual, so there'll not be any changes on that. So what we are doing is we're slowing down the internal biochemical changes, so it increases shelf life, but there's no stoppage or there's no permanent changes on the fluid characteristics. That's how we're able to move it forward.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Then I see Claire has a question here. It looks like it gets at kind of the mechanics of how this actually works, how the signals get in. Claire, you want to go ahead and ask? I can also.
Do you want me to respond to it?
Yeah,
or?
I can also just read it here. I'll read her actual question. She says, when using the skin of citrus, most commonly lemon, how does that work with the coating method? And hear that as you will. I think what she's getting at is like, it's such a thick, strong skin. How is anything getting through to the flesh inside?
Yeah. I think two different pointers on this. So the product what I showed there is a fruit coating, and that fruit coating acts as a barrier for external oxidation control, and it also makes sure that the fruit can control the respiration rate. The active ingredients, what we include on the coating or the papers, there are sensitive receptors on the skin of the fruit. So these receptors are like whatever we have on the skin, like pores. So these are receptors, what is there on the fruit or vegetables surface. So when our plant-based volatiles goes in contact, these plant-based volatiles act as a signal molecule, and these signal molecule will make a change into the biochemical pathways. So that's how the overall process works. So the active ingredients, when either released as volatiles or released on the surface, acts as a signal molecule to activate specific defense within the fruit and vegetable.
Great. I love that. That kind of gets back to this just wonderful realization of how the fruits and vegetables are still alive. They are still, living and breathing essentially, right? What can you tell us about that? I think that's kind of the reconnect element of here of how we can reconnect with nature. That's an important thing to realize about plants and both growing. It's one thing to realize the plants growing around us are alive. They're really dynamic in doing things, and we see that a lot with like the Suzanne Simard and the Wood Wide Web, and just realizing how dynamic the lives of plants in the world are. And now to realize this about the fruits on our shelves, what's going on? What's the life of a banana?
Yeah, I think just to give some context on this, right? So any banana, when it's so similar to how our human life has a span, a fruit or vegetable has a period called senescence, which is its lifespan. So end of the senescence is where the death of the fruit happens, where the seeds or the internal flush becomes the next tree. So that's nature's own life cycle. So a fruit, when it gets harvested, it dies, it puts the seeds into the plant, into the soil, and then it grows a plant again. So that's the life cycle, how it operates. Average, let's say on banana alone, average lifespan of a banana is about 15 to 20 days in the temperature, in the optimal temperatures, what it has to be stored. Within that optimal temperatures, what we are pushing it from the 20 days to 40, 45 days, sometimes even 50 days. And so we're providing a 40 to 60% increase to shelf life. And that's what creates value for all these bigger B2B customers. That's how the crop internal system works, and that's how the live fruit goes through the changes.
That's great, thank you. Claire, did you have anything to follow up?
Yes, I didn't realize I was still in chat mode and I couldn't press anything. I also had a another part just on a very practical, like in the kitchen level. If you have this citrus with this coating that has helped it with its shelf life, and you go to zest it and actually use the skin in a recipe, like you actually kind of a grater that you're actually putting the skin into a recipe, but it has this coating. Is that a usable thing? Can you actually use the skin and not just discard it in the example of a citrus?
Yeah, it's a good question. So primarily the ingredients what we use are all food safe and US FDA approved for fruit coating. So the US FDA has approved for fruit coating for citrus. What it means is the product is not consumed, that the external skin is not consumed. That's how they've declared for the fruit coating. So it's food safe, but it's not recommended to eat primarily from the regulatory perspective. So I think on that front, I would recommend not to eat it. But all the ingredients are food safe. But on the regulatory side, it's not meant to be eaten.
Right. So that's a lot of different things. Tomatoes, we know you started with the bananas, the citrus.
Yeah.
We have another question here about in the Pacific Northwest, asparagus is popping out now. And if anyone's ever had freshly sprouted asparagus, you realize that it's asparagus like no other. And it's really a very tight window that you get for that real prime asparagus season. How big are GreenPod Labs ambitions? How many fruits and vegetables and commodities do you want to see yourself, contributing to?
Yeah, great question. There's two ways of expansion what GreenPod Labs is getting into. One, there's a horizontal expansion where we are getting into different commodities. So fruits and vegetables is our first focus. We are expanding to different fruits and vegetables. And then beyond fruits and vegetables, we are looking to get into meat, milk, grains, seeds, and then other processed food as well. And developing technology solutions to extend the shelf life, maintain the quality within this category. And across the vertical expansion, we are looking to expand across different countries outside India. So we are already been doing pilots in several countries outside India, like Mexico, Philippines, Ecuador, Nepal, Bangladesh, and all these countries. So there's a vertical expansion outside India. Primarily, like developing markets is what we are targeting, where cold storage, cold supply chain is not well established, and that's when we can add a significant value, because all our product works at ambient temperature, so you don't need a cold storage, cold supply chain to extend the shelf life. So those are the two expansions what we are doing, what we are planning to do. So our goal in probably next 5 to 10 years is like, can we make an impact on the food losses, food waste in developing markets to a significant level where it can improve the country's own economic benefits and also can serve more people. So that's the focus what we have got, and that's where we're doubling down. Yeah.
That's great. Thanks. So Deepak, something else I wanted to ask you about here is, the kind of the expandability or the potential for expansion for just your approach, the way that you've looked at problems and challenges, both, biologically and business-wise and technologically, and the way that you've used AskNature, I know on an ongoing basis, I was looking for inspiration. What's kind of your lesson for everybody out here trying to put biomimicry to work? What can we learn from you and start to apply for the way that other solutions are being developed?
I think, to be honest, I've been trying to figure this out as well. So it's quite challenging, right? So to be 100% transparent, we have experimented with other nature learning and have not been able to implement those learning into products or technologies or scalable solutions. Because there's a context in how you're learning, and that context may not be active in the real world. So that creates a difference between what you've learned from nature and how we are trying to implement. From a products what we have been able to scale up from nature, the primary benefits what has helped us to scale and learn is going deeper. So if it's fruit and vegetable, we don't just look at from a surface level, okay, there's fruit and there's vegetable. We go to the fundamental level of like, how does the fruit respire? How does a fruit ripen? How does a fruit let out moisture? How does a fruit change weight? How does a fruit release certain volatiles? How does a fruit's gene expression change? How does a fruit look at it from a color and saturation perspective? So we actually break down the crop into 5 layers of data, starting from the images to physiological weight, color, texture, moisture, respiration rate, ripening rate, enzyme data, molecular gene expression data, VOC data. So, and by doing so, we have learned a lot more about the fruit and are able to precisely develop the products, learning from nature, and then scale it up. I think that's one major benefit. What I would say. So if there's an interesting technology from nature, or I mean, interesting learning from nature, going deeper and deeper is going to help us build a scalable solution from that. I think that's the only correlation what I've built so far. Other than that, it's just as complex as anyone else is going through. We have failed, we've tried to learn, we've made our own mistakes. So far, I've not figured out any other process primarily.
That's great. Thank you. Well, we're getting just about to the top of the hour, so I want to give everyone kind of a minute here to think if there's any other additional questions that you have for Deepak or things you'd like to see over there at GreenPod, or to ask Deepak if there's anything else that you'd like to share or talk about. It's been so exciting to see the progress and advancement that you guys have made, both technologically and in terms of distribution, and really see this this product and approach taking hold and taking root in the world. So thanks so much for being here and taking us into this closer look at the way that you're working and the work that you're doing.
Yeah, nice. Appreciate the opportunity for sure. Yeah, happy to answer any additional questions. Happy to take a few more.
And I see Rashida is back with another question.
Could ask actually, yeah. Does the pollinator play a role in the way the preservation is done? Just wanted to know, like, do you go back to the initial pollinator? Because the same fruit would have a different pollinator, perhaps in different regions.
Yeah. No, 100%. I think different pollinators, different growth patterns, different ecological parameters do affect the crop parameters, crop quality and crop own characteristics. But from a GreenPod Labs perspective, we keep things pretty simple. We look at it from a fruit which is harvested. So once the fruit is out of its mother nature, what has to be done is how we look at it. Because if you go into the pre-harvest segment of fruits and vegetables, just on the plant level, there's thousands of parameters. Again, it's valuable to learn, but it can also put you into a direction where you will not be able to make any meaningful progress. It's a rabbit hole in a lot of ways. So personally, GreenPod Labs have not spent significant time on understanding the pre-harvest parameters. But yeah, from a knowledge perspective, I can say yes, all these parameters do influence the crop quality. To what extent is something we have not studied. So.
All right. Well, Deepak, thank you so much again for joining us today. Thank you, everyone, for being here, being part of this conversation. It's really great to have everyone here and see this community growing and engaging and learning from each other. There's going to be lots more opportunities to do so in the coming weeks. In the near term, we've got next Wednesday is a social swarm on the 18th at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Deepak, I can't do the math quickly enough to figure what time that will be for you. And that's, where we're just getting together, just building the community, getting to hear latest ideas from each other, sharing what you're up to, where you are. Just a real community building event. The following Friday, or the next Friday, is our next Lit Club, where we're looking at films or articles or books. And this one, keeping up kind of our plant themes, is Suzanne Simard's Finding the Mother Tree, which is such a foundational work and has had such a powerful role in spreading awareness through Suzanne's research and compilation of research about this interconnection of the lives of plants and with each other and with fungi in the ground, this whole wonderful world, the wood wide web that she coined. And that we'll be talking about that book on Friday, the 27th. That one's also at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. And then our next big live conversation with the guest will be July 10th, which is a Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, and that's Welcome to Jurassic Plants with the author Riley Black, who has been writing about dinosaurs in the prehistoric world for years as a blogger and now as a best-selling author. And she's going to take us into the relationships between plants and animals that really created the prehistoric world, which in turn creates the world that we have today, created the world that we have today. A fresh look at that world and a way to see our own world through new eyes, understanding these plants and relationships and kind of the potential that we have to draw from that whole life history. We talk about the 3.8 billion years of evolution. Every one of those days is full of inspiring adaptations and approaches and problem solving. So we hope you'll join us for some or all of these in the next several weeks, and more coming on throughout the year. Great to have you all here as part of this Hive community. Deepak, thanks again for joining us, and have a great night and have a wonderful day, everyone else. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for joining in. Appreciate everyone's time. Great to see everyone. Thank you.